Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Eddie Hearn is courting Jaron Ennis. Let me correct that right now. Let me show you how the magic works. All right. I put in instead of is. Let me show you how the magic works. Let me correct this real quick before we continue with the video because that drives me crazy because I'm OCD. Okay, what happened to that? Let me show you how the magic works. Watch this. There it goes. There it goes. Eddie Hearn is courting Jaron Ennis. Hey, if you guys haven't been paying attention, Eddie Hearn's been out here saying some nice things about Jaron Ennis, man. You know, if Jaron Ennis was a female, I'd swear that Eddie Hearn was out here trying to pitch a little woo. But that doesn't seem to be what's taking place. What seems to be taking place here, Eddie Hearn's a smart man. And he knows as far as 147 pounds, Eddie Hearn's looking out long term. And he knows for the next couple of years, Jaron Ennis is a young man who can make 147, and there is no one who can beat him at 147. I normally don't make statements like that, but I am going to make that statement when it comes to Jaron Ennis because that's just how I feel. I mean, when you look at what's out there, I just don't think anyone beats him. And the reason I say that, and I think Eddie Hearn sees this as well, when you take a look at what's going on right here, Terrence Crawford doesn't sound like he wants anything to do at 147. The Earl Spence rematch may be the only fight that he takes at 147 because he wants the biggest and best fights. Earl Spence wants nothing to do at 147. Not so sure what's going to happen with Spence and Crawford, but I can't see Crawford not being okay. I don't see Crawford drawing the line in the sand and saying, you know what, I'm not going to grant the rematch to Earl Spence at 154. I think what could be a little bit of a limiting factor for Crawford is if he really wants to try to hold on to his WBO belt, WBC belt, and WBA belt. But I'm sure in this instance, they would make an exception for him to fight Spence at 154. I don't know. I'm just having a conversation. But if they force it at 147, then that means Spence has a fight at 147. No one thinks he wins anyway, so it is what it is. But going forward, that would take Crawford and Spence out of the 147-pound picture once they fight whatever weight they fight at. And I truly believe Crawford's going to drop those belts. Now, if Crawford and Spence are out of the 147-pound picture, let's put Devin Haney in the picture, okay? Let's throw Keith Thurman back in the picture. But when you talk about Boots Ennis, who at 147 pounds can beat him? Now, when you look at this rack and stack that was updated as of 10 December, Crawford and Spence, let's just say they're gone. Ortiz Jr. is already gone. When you look at Boots, Stan Eunice is tailor-made for him. Boots beats him down, gets the stoppage because Stan Eunice will swell up, he will cut, and I think by round 10, Stan Eunice will be TKO'd. Santillan, he's too short. His work rate is crazy. He can fight, but he's not going to be able to get beyond the jab of Ennis. So Santillan will probably get stopped by round 6 because he is his worst enemy because he's so aggressive. An amazing fighter, don't get me wrong. I just think Boots picks him apart, drops the boom on him, and gets him out of there. Cody Crowley, I don't know if he's made his way back up to Canada or what. It seemed like he became a little bit frustrated with boxing, the kind of money he was being offered. But even if he's still hanging around 147 and continuing with his career, let's be real. Who's Cody Crowley beating? He almost lost his last fight. Evander Cien, I don't even know why we're talking about Evander Cien. I don't see how he's still hanging around, ranked at number 7. He may have a good relationship with the secret society because I would think he would have dropped off this listing. Then you got Giasov, Barrios, and Rocha. Rocha's already showed us that, you bang him up pretty good, then, he's going to get knocked out. So I can't see him putting up any kind of contest against Boots Ennis, okay? Now, when you start to scroll down and take a look at the names underneath the WBO, IBF, WBC, and WBA columns, you'll see that there really isn't much here. Even if you throw Devin Haney in the picture, he makes it interesting, but I just think after a matter of time, Jaron Ennis will tranquilize Devin Haney. Or Devin Haney would do like Shakur Stevenson did against De Los Santos and just run the whole fight. Okay? But when you start going down the WBO column, Rocha, Crowley, we talked about him. Rashidi Ellis, let's get for real. He can't touch Boots Ennis. Earl Spence, we talked about him. He's not there. Santiago, we talked about him. Then you got Josh Taylor, Jamal James, and a bunch of other names some of you probably don't even know. Come to the IBF. We already talked about the guy in the 3, 4, and 5, Crowley, Santiago, Spence. Then you got Sasaki, then you got Chikadzian, who already lost, Villa lost, and then you look, the rest of the names, no one can touch Boots Ennis. You come over to the WBC, Crowley, Sissoko, which no one really knows much about him, but he can fight, but he doesn't beat Boots. Josh Taylor, I just think he just doesn't have the ammunition for 147. Van der Sien, I don't even think we need to talk about him. Conor Benn, that is someone who Eddie Hearn would try to put in there with Boots, and Conor Benn would fight him. I'm going to tell you right now, Eddie Hearn's looking at making Conor Benn and Devin Haney, but I just don't think Devin Haney didn't want that fight because they want the most money possible. But Devin Haney could end up fighting Conor Benn next if y'all don't pay attention. They end up out there in Saudi. That's an easy fight for Eddie Hearn to make. He don't have to worry about the British Boxing Board of Control. He can go out there to Saudi and he can get Devin and he can get Conor Benn and himself gazillions of dollars. So I wouldn't be surprised if they end up trying to make that fight. But after that, Santiago, we talked about these other names. Some people don't even know who they are. Now, when you get to the WBA, we talked about Giasov already. I don't think Stan Eunice can handle Boots. We talked about that. But Keith Thurman is still a name that I'm going to tell you could make the fight interesting. And you know why I say that? Because of his movement. And you know what's funny? I've been saying that for a long time. I still think Boots will get him, but I think the fight's more interesting than what people think. He got a lot of experience. He got just a lot of intelligence in that ring. But even Boots' father said that. Bozy Ennis said that. They ain't worried. They'll fight Keith Thurman, but they feel like that's a tough fight. They feel like that is a tough fight. Also, Terrence Crawford trainer, what's his name? Bomac, they feel that Keith Thurman is not an easy fight because of the movement. See, people don't want to give Keith Thurman credit because some people who've come into boxing, they don't even know who Keith Thurman is anymore because they don't remember the Keith Thurman that was out here tranquilizing people and beating everybody. They don't remember that guy. The Danny Garcia win, the Sean Porter win. They don't remember all that. They don't. He's been gone from the sport for a while. So if Keith Thurman was to resurface, a lot of people would think that this guy Keith Thurman, who some of these people don't know, they would think that was a cherry pick. But it ain't no cherry pick. But out of all the names that's out there, 147, sadly enough, the only person who could probably make this a little bit interesting, Butiev is tough too, but the only person that can make this a little bit interesting against Boots Ennis, but Devin Haney maybe, till he eventually gets that heat put on him, but Keith Thurman. And still, I still don't see anyone here who can touch Jaron Boots Ennis. Now, that being said, if you're Eddie Hearn, oh yeah, you're going to say nice things about Boots. Oh, he's an amazing fighter. His profile should be this. How come no one's talking about him? I don't promote him and I'm talking about him. That's Eddie Hearn trying to run game. He's trying to quote him. He wants to sign him. And I tell you what, when you look at boxing and you look at Eddie Hearn, you look at DAZN, those guys are still willing to spend money, just not on Tevin Farmers anymore. You know what I'm saying? They ain't spending money on them guys anymore. But a guy like Boots Ennis, who they know can destroy the whole 147-pound division, they can keep him busy. 3-4 fights a year. They can sit here and take him to Saudi and fight fights over there. They can have him fighting in the UK. They can have Boots fighting all over the place. But it's going to be on Boots and his dad to see what they want to do. But if it was me, I would go over there. I would do like Devin Haney. I think Boots has his own promotional company and team up with Devin Haney the way Devin Haney has. You know, touch base with Bill Haney. I know I don't know if they have that kind of rapport, but, you know, they know smart people. Find out how to go about doing it. And then go out there now and, you know, team up with a huge promoter for like a 3-fight deal and bounce around. Because I'm telling you, Boots Ennis can do that. He's that good that he can do it. But that being said, don't be surprised if Boots Ennis ends up signing over there to Matchroom. Because right now, Matchroom seems to be very consistent. And they have fighters who are over there, and all their fighters are happy. Let me tell you something. No one says anything bad about Top Rank. About PBC, except for Rick Glacier. He's a hater. I've gone back and forth with him on Twitter. He is a hater. Yeah, that dude is a trip, man. He makes his little couple dollars a month off of Twitter because all he does is sit there and spew hate towards PBC. But the only two promotional firms where you don't hear people say negative things about is Matchroom or Eddie Hearn, Al Heyman, and PBC. No one says anything bad. They get their money, they want to be over there, and when they're not allowed to be over there, they feel a kind of way. But every other promoter, you hear people complaining and saying stuff. Some are cool, but my thing is just if I had to pick, I'd either be with Matchroom or PBC. Simple. But let's see what Boots does. It's kind of nice to be in demand the way he is, and especially when you think about what was the hottest division in boxing, 147, with Crawford and Spence leaving out of there. They still can have it's still an interesting division, but Boots can run it. But I think what's going to happen is Boots will get in there, become undisputed at 147, and bubble right up to 154, and look to keep moving up the ladder. But we'll see. I do hope he makes a move sooner than later because it's ridiculous to see guys with that talent in their prime not fighting at least 3 times a year. Y'all keep cool. I'm in the breeze.